Hey there, I'm farming and I hate my life right now, so I'm gonna do something about it. I've lived my whole life doing what other people have told me to, or going with the flow, and I realized I have no real dreams or goals in my life, or even thoughts of my own. I feel like an empty vessel, so I'm gonna do something I actually like and record my journey of me doing it. This is gonna be my first video on me attempting to become a game developer. Hopefully a solo indie developer since I love working alone, but if not, at least a game developer and trying to make a living off of it. For those that don't know me, which, well, you probably don't. Hi, I'm Farman. I'm 20 years old, and ever since I was a child, I've been interested in games and fiction, mainly because I don't like living in reality. Not to say I've led a bad life. There have been ups and downs, but overall, I'm grateful to be alive. But I've always felt like something is missing. Like I was going through the motions without ever taking time to stop and think if I actually enjoy this life. I came to the realization a while back that I have no aspirations. I don't know what I want to do with my life. What do I want to be? What do I want to work as? If I want to leave my hometown or spend the rest of my life here. So I've decided to branch off into things I actually find interesting, instead of just doing something because everybody else is doing it. One of those things is developing games. When I was a child, I never really had many friends, and I never really cared much because there was always a game to sink my time into, to escape my life and do something I actually enjoyed. Whether it's killing bosses, exploring dungeons, leveling up, or even living a slow life on a homestead. Games, and especially anime, isekai anime. You know, those 12 episode slops, like that time I got reincarnated as a slime. Even though I know it's slop, I watch all of it because I envision myself as the protagonist, and it helps me escape from reality and put myself in their place. You know, when I'm playing games, especially RPG games, I don't even notice how fast time flies by. When I'm playing Minecraft for the 100th time with a different mod pack, or Skyrim, or Oblivion, and I get the same feeling when I develop games. The first time I opened up Godot and followed a tutorial, I didn't even want to get up from my seat, and before realizing it, it was already 3 in the morning and my mom was yelling at me for leaving the lights on. I've always loved RPG games in particular, mainly because of the freedom. I can do whatever I want in them. For example, in Skyrim, I can completely ignore the main quest and live as a farmer. And it was over time that I realized I had a love for exploration, and I realized that through these games that I want to travel the world and someday save up enough to retire on a farm. That's where my name comes from. So far, this is only episode 1, and I've only spent about a day making this game after following a tutorial, which I still end up making mistakes in. But it's honestly been a lot of fun, and when I see my game go from nothing with just a 2D sprite to making the sprite move to give him an attack pattern to creating a map for him, it's honestly the most fun I've had in a long time. And I'd say creating a game and seeing the effort pay off is just as fun to me as actually playing a game. And, you know, I think it's one thing to see somebody who's already an expert do something, but I think it's also endearing to see somebody who knows nothing struggle and persevere to become good at something they were originally bad at. That is why I'm documenting my journey. Maybe somebody out there can get something from this. I know a lot of game developers, when seeing my day 1 progress, might laugh and cringe at how big my dream is and how little I've done. But if I don't at least try to accomplish my goals, my dreams to become a game developer and make it a full-time job, then I know I will regret it. And so even if people laugh or mock or berate me, I'm still going to continue on this journey. And even if I don't succeed in the end, maybe I'll get something fun out of it. You know, when I first discovered how much I like making stuff, I think I was building something on Roblox. That was the first time I lost track of time when doing something other than playing games. I remember building a map and thinking to myself, man, this would be so cool to do on an actual game engine. And so that's what I'm doing. Even though I've only made the attack patterns of the character and the tiny map, I'm proud of myself for actually trying and putting in effort. My dream is to make the greatest magic fantasy RPG of all time, but I know not to start with my magnum opus and to start small. That's why after following a few tutorials, I'm gonna try making a 2D cultivation game, a wuxia game. I've always loved wuxia and cultivation and everything that comes with it, and I love losing myself in cultivation novels like Reverent Insanity or Top Tier Providence. But there's never really been a good cultivation game that I've enjoyed. One with different cultivation stages, tribulations, etc. And the closest I could find was Roblox games that are low quality slop. So I've decided, once I finish a tutorial, I'm gonna attempt to make a cultivation game. I'm gonna publish it for free. And so if you like that type of content or those types of games, I hope when it releases, you will give it a try and maybe give me feedback on it. The release will take at least a few months for me to make since I'm only on day 1 of learning. But I made a promise to myself to make a cultivation game that I actually enjoy. And so I'm gonna do that. The reason I enjoy cultivation is the same as isekai, because I can sink myself into it and lose myself in this world of fiction, and because the protagonists actually have goals they want to accomplish. But I'm tired of simply consuming content over and over, and I want to make something of my own. A few of my friends know I'm trying to develop a game, so I might add them as Easter eggs, which is also part of the fun for me when it comes to making something of my own. You know, the day my game gets even a single download, I'm probably gonna party. But I know that goal can be years or even months away depending on my ability and the current trends. So I'm gonna continue only because I like game developing, not because I expect something out of it. You know, I am a college student and I will be getting a job next month. I do have other hobbies that I love doing, so I'm sure I'll get busy with those. But even then, I will continue to develop games. And not just develop games, there's also other hobbies that I want to sink my time into that I've never really bothered with before because I never really had the confidence. For example, I want to learn digital art. I want to learn to sing and play the guitar, which is something I never had confidence to partake in as a child. I want to learn to make creations on Blender, which I've done the basic donut course, but I didn't touch Blender since. Overall, I'm really nervous, but I'm also really excited for this next part of my life. To balance out my work and my hobbies, I made a rule for myself to work at least 30 minutes a day on doing something related to game developing. Only 30 minutes because it seems like a small amount of time, but once I start, I can go on for hours. Although I believe I started a little late and wasted some of my early years not pursuing my interests, better late than never. And I feel this video was all over the place, but that's kind of who I am as a person. And if you enjoyed it, or if you want to stick around to see me improve, then keep watching. Thank you.